Okay, Algebra 2, we're on page 6 of your homework packet, and we're on problem 24. Miss Lewis has 20 students, and she's going to put the students' names in a hat to select 2 students at random to be team leaders. So it doesn't matter which order she chooses those 2 students. They don't have special jobs. They're both going to be a team leader. So that would be a combination. So you're going to do 20, choose 2, and this is a problem you can type on your calculator. So on the calculator, you type 20. No, let's quit this first and clear. So you have 20, and then math, go over to probability, and that's choice 3, 2, and you find that there's 190 ways, and so that's answer G. So choose answer G. In problem 25, you want to multiply both sides by the denominators so that you can eliminate the denominators, and you're allowed to do that because you did the same thing on the left as you did on the right. So on the left side, we're multiplying times a and times a minus 2, and on the right side, you're multiplying times a and times a minus 2. So we have to distribute this to each of these. When you multiply by the first fraction, the a minus 2's will cancel out, so you're left with only a times 2a. That gives you 2a squared. And when you multiply times the second fraction, the a's cancel out, so it's 3 times a minus 2, so that's going to give you 3a minus 6. On the right side, the a minus 2's cancel out, and you just get 7a. So you want to get one side to be 0 because this is a quadratic equation, and you get 2a squared minus 4a minus 6 equals 0. Now if you were going to factor this, you would divide both sides by 2 first, and then you'd factor both sides. But remember that you can also graph this on the calculator. So you're going to press y equals, clear out what's in there, and type 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. And if you just look at the graph, press graph, and you look at it, you can see that the zeros are -1 and +3. And so -1 is not a choice, but +3 is a choice. So you're going to choose answer C. Alright, problem 26 is another good problem to do on the calculator. It says which one is not a zero of the function. So if you graph the function, you can see the zeros. So go back to y equals and clear out the last one, and put in x to the third minus 9x, and graph. And you can see zeros at -3, 0, and 3. So it says which one is not a zero. So the one that's not a zero is choice F. In problem 27, we have to factor. So we're looking for numbers that multiply to 4 times 1, 4, and add to 4. And so those numbers are 2 and 2, and that's going to split up our middle term. So our middle term, let's see, we have still 4x squared. And then our middle term gets split into 2 pieces, 2xy squared, and another 2xy squared, and then we have y to the 4th. And then we're going to factor by grouping. So you put parentheses around the first 2 and the last 2. And the greatest common factor of the first 2 is 2x, and that's times 2x plus y squared. And the second pair of parentheses, the greatest common factor is y squared. So I have y squared times 2x plus y squared. And when you have 2 sets of parentheses that match, that means you're doing it right. So that's one of your factors, 2x plus y squared. And then the other one is 2x plus y squared as well. So it says, I don't see an answer that looks just like it, but because these are the same thing, that's the same as the square of 2x plus y squared. So that makes answer A. Okay, 28, which one shows the solution set for the inequality? So we actually want to solve this inequality. I think we have a little bit of space up top here we can use. So when you have the absolute value already isolated, then one of your inequalities looks just like the one you're looking at. Negative 2x plus 3 is greater than 3. And then the other one is negative 2x plus 3 is less than, and you take the opposite of 3, so that's negative 3. Then we're going to solve, so the first one I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get negative 2x is greater than 0. And then if I divide by negative 2, remember that if you divide by a negative on both sides, you want to flip your inequality. So I'm going to get x is less than 0. On the second inequality, you subtract 3, and I get negative 2x is less than negative 6. And remember that when you divide by negative 2 on both sides, you want to flip your inequality. So I get x is greater than 3. So less than 0 and greater than 3. Here's my, oh, that's negative 2. Okay, here's less than 0. And then greater than 3. So that's answer H. 29 is an inverse problem. So remember, for inverse, you flip the x and y. So f of x means y. So now I'm going to change them, and I have x is equal to 25 y squared, and I'm going to divide by 25. So now I have y squared is equal to x over 25, and then I'm going to square root both sides. And when you solve by taking the square root, remember to put a plus or minus in front. So I have plus or minus and a big square root. So y is going to be plus or minus the square root of x, and I actually know that the square root of 25 is 5. So that matches answer B. Alright, in 30, which of the following is the square root of a, b to the 6? Well, a to the first can't come out, doesn't have enough power to it. Remember that square root is root 2. B to the 6, though, it's power over root. So actually for both of these we can do power over root. Power over root. So because square root is root 2, I have a to the 1/2, b to the 6/2, which simplifies to a to the 1/2, b to the 3rd. That's answer G. Alright, move on to the next page. 31. To solve this equation, Kai graphed the absolute value, and he graphed y equals 4, and he's looking for the solution. So the solutions will just be where these two graphs intersect. So it looks like we have x equals 1 and x equals 3. Choice C. Alright, for 32, which is equivalent to the following expression? Well, what you want to do is actually factor x squared minus 16x plus 64. So the numbers that multiply to 64 and add to negative 16 are negative 8 and negative 8. So that becomes the square root of x minus 8 times x minus 8, and that's the square root of the square of x minus 8. So the square root of the square are going to cancel out, and you have just x minus 8. And don't be confused about the absolute value. We didn't spend a lot of time going over that, but it's on all the answer choices, so that shouldn't mess you up there. Alright, and 33, we have the graph of the cube of x plus 1, and we're looking for the y-intercept. So remember, the y-intercept is where you cross the y-axis, and it looks like it's at 0, 2. Alright, let's do one more page on this video. Alright, 34, the functions are graphed, and what are the solutions for where the two functions equal each other? So again, you're just looking for where the functions cross each other. It looks like x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 1, choice F. In 35, we're doing f of g of x. So start with function f, and you're going to substitute g of x for the x in that function. So we have 3 times g of x squared plus 4. And then we're going to actually put 2x minus 1 where it says g of x. So it's 3 times the square of 2x minus 1 plus 4. Then remember, to square 2x minus 1, I have to actually do 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1 gives me 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. So that's 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. So then I'm going to substitute that here for the square of 2x minus 1. So it's 3 times 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 plus 4. And that's 12x squared minus 12x plus 3 plus 4. So that looks like it's going to match answer choice C. For problem 36, you're going to want to graph that one on your calculator. So get your calculator and press y equals. Clear out what you have in there already and start typing. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 1. And then in your y2, you're going to type negative x squared plus 3. Graph that. And sometimes you can eyeball these solutions. Sometimes you need to use your intersect. Looks like I put something incorrectly in my y equals. Yep. So sometimes if you get an error, it means that you put a minus instead of a negative, or a negative instead of a minus. So try that again. There's your parabola, and there's your second parabola. So you can kind of eyeball where they are, but if you want to be sure, you can do second, calculate, intersect, and you do enter, enter, enter. And it gives you one of the solutions right there at 1, 2. So it looks like already I know that this is answer choice J, but if you wanted to find the second one, you would do second, calculate, intersect, and move closer to that one. And then press enter, enter, enter. And you can see negative 2, negative 1 is the other answer. So that would give me answer choice J. Okay. 37, which is the factored form of the polynomial. So if you can see the zeros, then you know what the factors are. If there's a 0 at negative 6, then there's a factor at x plus 6. And if there's a 0 at negative 1, there's a factor at x plus 1. So that matches answer A. Okay, 38, you can type this on your calculator, but really you're just adding like terms. So you add the 6 and the 9 and you get 15. And then you add the 7i root 2 and the 1i root 2, and that's going to give you 8i root 2. So your answer is choice G. And we're going to end this video and move on to the next one.